The following is intended for mature audiences only. Discretion is advised.
What's up, besties? Welcome back to another episode of Childlike at Best with Mike Valdes. Hey, guess what? I am still the second part of that title. This is episode 10, guys. Oh my gosh. We are at double digits, and boy, do I have a treat for you. Today's guest is Lisa Corrao. She is an actress. She was on Nickelodeon's Every Which Way and also a very, very funny stand-up comedian. She's open for many, many headliners as well as headlined herself all around the country. We met at Florida SuperCon this year and we became very fast friends. She's an absolute delight. Now, this episode is a little different. It is a little shorter than usual, and there is going to be a little bit of a sound issue because we were recording backstage at one of the theaters where Lisa was headlining, so you're going to hear some technical things going on. There's people coming in and out from backstage. I tried as hard as I could to cut a lot of that noise out, but if you're like me or like any other person, you're going to skip through this intro just to get to the interview and complain to me anyway. So see you in the comments. Regardless, I still think you're going to really love this episode. Lisa is absolutely hysterical, and I'm so lucky to be considered her friend and a colleague. So please enjoy the very funny Lisa Corrao.
So I made risotto. I made a mushroom risotto. That's one of my go-to things. I love to make risotto. And there was a lot of carbs. So between the shoulders and also there's a lot of stirring involved. A lot of circles today.
Right.
I needed a nap.
Right.
So that's pretty much it. Now I'm here. That was my day. I mean, it's not very exciting.
Here we are. Hey, everybody. This is Childlike at Best with Mike Valdes. Hey, guys, guess what? I'm Mike Valdes, and today I have a very special guest with me, Lisa Corrao, everybody.
Hello?
Lisa, one of the first things that we like to do here at Childlike at Best with Mike Valdes is, before I ask the first question, we like to take a Flintstones vitamin.
Oh.
So I brought you Flintstones Complete Gummies.
Oh my gosh, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, they make them in gummies now.
They do.
Oh, see, when I was a kid, they were just the little chalky,
Yeah.
nasty things. But they've been around for a long time. It looks like I got a double. I've got Fred and Dino. Thank you.
Yeah.
Delicious.
So as you're taking that in, can you please tell me about where you grew up?
These gummies are great. First of all, born on Long Island and raised here.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can't really claim to be a New York girl, although there are some words, apparently I've been told, that are like a tell. They're a giveaway that I was indeed from New York, had the, parents with the New York accents.
Right.
And, one or two words. Apparently, okay, so wait, let's test this right now.
Sure.
Okay, the citrus fruit that our state is known for, how do you say that?
An orange.
I say orange. Say it again.
Orange.
Orange. Say it again.
Orange.
Ah! See?
I did that on purpose, though.
I had no idea, but I had no idea that I was saying it that way.
Yeah.
So, Mike, that's where I grew up, South Florida.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
So you lived on Long Island for how long, you said?
Not long. I was a toddler when we moved here.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we would go back to visit family and whatever. But I'm a Florida girl, for sure. And I love it here. People make fun of Florida all the time, just what an embarrassing state. And it is. It is embarrassing. My family's embarrassing. I love them too. You can love something that lets you down.
Yeah.
And I love it here. Like, it makes sense to me why the state flag is a big red X.
I guess.
Just a big X on the whole state. It should be a circle and a slash flag.
Yeah, I guess so. So what kind of kid would you say that you were in school? Who did you sit with at lunch?
I was either very funny or very quiet, depending on if someone was appreciating, like maybe if I made someone laugh a little bit, then I would open up a little more. Who did I sit with in lunch? here's the thing about me in school. I was a very good student, but I also hated school at the same time. I was a night owl, so I would always come to school really tired, and also I was really bored in class. So I ended up making a deal with my parents that as long as I had A's, I could stay home from school.
Right.
And they would call it in. They would call in my absences so I would be excused so I wouldn't get in trouble. But, I mean, my last year that I was in school, I was there slightly more than half the time. Mm-hmm. Like, it was just barely before it's considered a truant. and I kind of, like, just taught myself. I had straight A's, and I ended up going to college early in the early admissions program that they had, you know, because I hated sitting there all day. I'm like, this is too many hours.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Yeah, but I was friends with everyone. I got along with all the different groups. I used to hate, I mean, people talk about bullies all the time.
Sure.
And when I was a kid, no one really talked about it, but there were bullies. And I would always stand up for the kid getting picked on. Mm-hmm. And I used to fight a lot when I was a kid. Like, I had brothers and all boys on my street growing up. So I was like this little fighter girl. And if I saw someone getting picked on, I would go in and have a physical, like a fist fight.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so I was just a weird kid. I was quiet, funny, liked to read, really wanted to just be home. I didn't really want to be in school. And then when I saw something unfair, really, really bothered me.
Yeah, I was a lot like that as well. But when you were at home, what were your first fandoms that you remember? Like, what was the first thing that...
First one was Star Wars, no doubt.
Okay.
Absolutely no doubt. You know, I'm an old lady, okay? I was born in 1975. Everything was Star Wars. Those were all the toys. That was when you went down the one toy aisle that was at Sears. It was all Star Wars and also Atari. So we'd play a lot of video games, and we would play. I was Princess Leia. I really wanted to be Han Solo.
Sure.
But, you know, like those were the only choices available to me.
It's blowing my mind that they sold toys at Sears.
Oh my gosh! It was one aisle of just all Kenner toys. It was all the action figures.
Yeah,
it was like
a
plastic lightsaber.
Right.
You know, it was a few other things, and that's. I mean, we'd make a lightsaber out of the like cardboard tube of from the wrapping paper. That would be a lightsaber too.
Sure.
When I got older, it was all kinds of nerdy things. It was definitely Thundercats.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I wanted to be Chitara so badly.
Yeah.
And I'm skinny now, but I was not as a kid. And I would just try to run so fast. And I would feel like I was having a heart attack as a kid. Like, everyone in the family smokes, too. So I was basically like a smoker as well. So I would run, and I would get this sharp pain in my ribs.
Yeah.
Totally like Chitara, I'm sure it does. I would just start wheezing.
Oh, my God, I can't do this anymore.
Exactly. Lion-O. Oh, my thighs are chafing, Lion-O. That's
Valcor. Is Valcor the thing from Thundercats? I don't know.
I don't even remember anymore.
Valcor?
I mean, I haven't been into any of the new like reboot stuff with Thundercats because I'm just like, I think it's gonna ruin it for me. Maybe I'll like it.
Can I tell you something? This is gonna blow your mind on 20 different levels.
Okay.
The only reason why I know the Thundercats is because there is a Christian band named Reliant K who sang a song about the Thundercats.
What?
And that's the only reason why I know about the Thundercats at all.
Holy crap. That is a weird way to know about it. That is really, really...
Yep.
That is blowing my mind. That's so strange.
20 different levels right there.
Wow.
That's the only way. I mean, I know that it's like half weird strong guy, half lion guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that. I know what he looks like. I know what Lion-O looks like.
Lion-O, yeah.
But quite literally, the only reason why I know is because...
I loved them so much. And I loved trying to dress up like Chitara.
Yeah.
Like, now kids call it cosplay. I don't know what it was called when I was a kid. I was just alone and would just dress up by myself. I had nowhere to go in this costume.
People would just call you names.
I would, and I had to make the costume too. So it was like I stole my mom's leotard that was like kind of like Spanx.
Yeah.
So it was what they called nude colored, which is just beige. It's just racist to call it nude because it's only nude colored if you're that color. And I didn't know that then, though. That I was being racist. I was being a racist Chitara. And then she has markings on her face. To make those markings, I took my mom's lipstick. Now,
Right.
you have to imagine in the 80s, lipstick's made out of, like, I don't know, whale blubber and, like, dead cats and, like, you know, I don't know what horrible things it's made of. I put lipstick on my face, not on my lips where it's bad enough, on my face. And that was the beginning of my acne.
Oh, man.
Really bad acne that I still to this day have, like, scars in the shape of Chitara.
Yeah.
Like Chitara's markings.
I will be
on my
honest, for the
face.
people that can't see what you look awesome.
Oh, thanks.
You know?
I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's semi-terrifying, but in a memorable way, you know.
I had acne because I was such a nerd, which just
Right.
added to how nerdy I was,
Of
which
course.
is fine with me. But definitely Thundercats. Also, Transformers. Don't get me started on Voltron, but I loved Voltron.
Yeah.
Later Ghostbusters. Yeah. I could probably think of some more stuff, but those were some of the big ones that I could tell you right out of the gate. And also, like, I started to get into horror films too early,
Okay, like what?
just because my dad was like, "This is probably appropriate."
Sure.
The first horror movie I ever saw was Night of the Living Dead. So scary.
Oh yeah, of course.
My entire life, I've had nightmares of the zombie apocalypse, and I still love to watch zombie stuff. Because it's just like a theme that I'm like, what would I do in this situation? And it's just like, talk about extreme camping, like
Yeah.
just the whole idea of it. I've had so many vivid, scary nightmares about it, and yet I still watch.
There's a great Canadian comedian. His name's Ivan Decker. Has this amazing joke about zombies where he's like, I think zombies don't make any sense because zombies have human teeth and I have human teeth and I can't bite through most sandwiches because they're too toasted. So how am I supposed to bite through human flesh? And that's so true.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, zombies are something that never scared me. But I'm trying to think. I mean, of course, I was always scared of Freddy Krueger.
Oh yeah,
I was
Freddy.
always scared of Jaws.
Jaws was an early one that I saw as well.
To be fair, I was never actually I never actually saw Jaws until I was maybe 12 or 13. I only saw his fin, right? And the rest was my imagination.
That's all you need.
Right. The rest was my
There's
imagination.
nothing scarier than your mind.
Oh, and I'm telling you, there's sometimes, I'm not even joking, where if I close my eyes a little too long in the shower, I will think there's a shark in the shower with me.
That's pretty terrifying. Yeah. Yeah, that and Freddy Krueger was definitely a big one for me too. So scary.
Yeah.
'Cause you can't get away from him.
Yeah.
And the idea of not being able to sleep, that especially now at my age, I'm really like, oh God, what if I couldn't get a nap? That
Right.
that is the worst thing that could happen. Oh, here's a scary movie. Okay, based on a great book, Stephen King, Salem's Lot.
Yeah, that's a
Okay,
good one.
The movie's dated. However, the vampires are still, I think, some of the scariest on-screen vampires ever.
Yeah, I was actually talking with a buddy of mine that movie deserves a really good reboot, because we're in this generation now that thinks vampires are like these like
Sexy.
glittery,
I hate that.
glowing kind of things. And
I hate that.
And Salem's Lot is not that at all, and that's like the type of stuff that I like,
Yeah, there's nothing sexy about those vampires
At all,
whatsoever. And the fact that vampires have become sexy just shows how desperate women are for affection. I feel like we're like, just you can bite us, you can suck our, but we just want to cuddle. That's all, man. Just touch us, God.
Well, to be completely fair, I've been working on a bit like this, but I honestly think what separates a man from being chivalrous and being a serial killer is whether the girl finds him attractive.
100%.
And like that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Because it's just like you can leave roses on a girl's car, and if she finds you attractive, she's like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you did this." But then it's like, "Oh, my serial killer stalker."
Yeah. Oh, if I went out and saw flowers on my car right now, I'd be like, geez, Mike, what are you doing? No,
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh my God, this is so scary.
Yeah, gotta get out of here. By the way.
No, you're absolutely right about that. But yeah, Salem's Lot, those vampires are definitely nothing sexual about that. They look like they are from hell and they will kill you. And it is just terrifying. And if they did reboot that movie, I would say that's the one thing that they really have to keep is just how creepy those vampires are.
I mean, of course, that's like the whole.
It's the only thing that they need to hold on to, right? Oh
Yeah.
God, no more sexy vampires.
That's like the whole
please.
thing. That's like making Pet Cemetery without cats. You know.
Yeah, right.
We're just gonna do it with squirrels. You know. Just,
Did you see the reboot? I didn't see it.
No, I didn't. I'm good.
It's probably all rescue animals.
I'm sure it's fine. It looked fine. The original wasn't anything to really write home about anyway.
You know, I still always liked all this, pretty much all the Stephen King stuff. Even the stuff that was like kind of crappy.
Of course.
Like, I still enjoyed it.
Yeah. I agree. What about cereal? Were you into cereal at all?
I was into cereal.
We talked about this a little bit.
I had cereal every morning. Cereal every morning. And you want to know something? Again, when I was a kid, the term lactose intolerant was not a thing.
Yeah.
So I just thought I had a loud, farty stomach.
Right.
I had cereal and whole milk every morning. And then I would go to school. This is probably another reason why I did not enjoy school. My stomach is very loud, and it literally sounds like I am ripping farts full blast, but they're all internal.
Yeah.
And so I would do the thing, in class where I'd like rustle the papers, move my chair, make it, but it already had, it was like, and then I start moving things around.
Yeah.
So that's the experience that I had as a kid. I had no idea till I was like, maybe 20 that I'm like, what's this term, lactose intolerant? What does that mean? And then I figured out, I probably fall under that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But some of my favorite cereals were, I like classic. There's a bunch.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to go through a bunch here.
Oh, I'm all about it.
Okay.
We have all the time.
Classic Cheerios with a layer of sugar. You add your own sugar on top, and it gets like kind of a crust.
Oh, I'm into it.
Oh, I'm so into that.
Mm-hmm.
Like my mouth is watering just telling you about this. Same thing with cornflakes. Like I didn't like Frosted Flakes, but if you took cornflakes and made that sugar crust, I was all about that.
Yeah.
I really loved when I got older Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I guess the version of that when I was younger was probably Life cereal, but then Cinnamon Toast Crunch like kicked it up a notch.
Yeah, a lot of notches.
Yeah, a lot of notches. It's some good stuff.
Yeah, it went from 0 to 60 pretty quickly.
Right. Lucky Charms, of course. I really liked Ghostbusters cereal, which we talked about.
We did.
And that was when I was in high school. I was older then, but I loved Ghostbusters cereal. Of course, like Boo Berry and Count Chocula and Frankenberry. Those were always great when they came out. Gosh, what else was there? I mean, I was definitely a cereal girl. Even like sometimes I would play around with Raisin Bran, but that was like old person cereal. But I've still
everybody likes. I like.
I'll
Raisin
still
Bran.
eat some Raisin Bran.
Why not?
I would eat it. All cereal's good.
It's all good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, something that I like to do here at Childlike at Best with Mike Valdes is I like to review cereal with my guest.
Yay!
And you know this because we've done it before. So basically, I like to get cereal that has a little bit to do with my guest in some way, shape, or form. So I spoke with my sponsors over at Funko. Now, by sponsor, I mean I like them and I buy all their products. And by spoke to, I mean I tweeted them repeatedly and they didn't get back to me.
Listen, Funko, if you're listening, as I know you are, you should absolutely support Mike and his podcast.
So what I got for you was Funko brand Cheer Bear cereal.
Oh my goodness.
Now, the reason...
Like a Care Bear.
Right. Now, the reason why I got this for you is because you're a very cheerful person.
Oh, thanks.
You're a very happy person. I mean, granted, you're very dark as well, but they didn't have...
Oh, yeah. Anytime someone's cheerful, just know that there's a dark center.
Yeah, they didn't have the Hot Topic exclusive of the dark one. But yeah, I thought that this would be a great one to review with you.
Okay.
So I am going to pour some of the cereal into my Reptar cereal bowl.
And it's a pink box.
Yeah.
With a Care Bear-like little bear on the front. 2 little bears.
One of them is a cereal prize.
Oh, right. There's a prize in each of these. That's so cool.
So
You're giving them so much free ad space. How are they not paying you? Or at least sending you this cereal for free.
That's what I'm saying.
Just send him a couple of boxes.
All I want is free cereal.
That's
like,
all he
I don't
wants.
even want money. I just want free cereal. That's it.
That's the thing. Comedians are so bad at business. We just want free food here and there. Oh, yeah,
I have to do that for all the ASMR weirdos that like to loop that and make it their ringtone or whatever the weird thing it is
Whatever
that they
they're
do.
doing.
Yeah. So before I get any of this started, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and play some Care Bears music. Now, it would be fun for us to just review this cereal. But what would be more fun is for us to review this cereal as Cheer Bear. Right? So, give me just a moment here.
The Care Bears I wasn't into as a kid. I tended to stay away from like girlier stuff. I think because I was raised around so many boys.
Oh yeah, me
that
too.
It was like, you know, it was like uncool to do any of the girly stuff. Mm-hmm. So I don't remember too much about Care Bear, like the show or anything like that.
You know what's great? This is my favorite thing in the world. Whenever someone doesn't know their voice, that means you can make them sound like whatever you want.
Oh,
and that's great. That's the most fun thing, at least for me. So I'm going to play this song, and hopefully this is the right song. Here we go. Whenever you're ready.
Just try it? Or do you want me to sing?
No,
or do you want to do both?
whatever you want to do.
Okay. Mmm. It's like strawberry. It's crunchy and sugary. And definitely strawberry flavored. I love it. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
I'm going to have some more. That's a good one. This would be great with milk, because then the milk would get all like strawberry milk.
Yeah.
It would definitely turn pink. And
Yeah.
then once you're done eating the cereal, you can drink the strawberry milk at the end.
Yeah. There you go. Well, Cheer Bear, ladies and gentlemen.
There it is, Cheer Bear. I do remember the Gummy Bears theme song.
Gummy bears
Bouncing here and there and everywhere.
I've had many a conversation with people about how the Disney afternoon shows, it seems like Boys to Men
adventure
sang.
that's beyond compare.
Like-
they are the Gummy Bears.
Every song was so soulful. Like, it sounded like, why is Boys to Men singing every single song?
Yeah.
You know, because it's good trouble when I stick together. Like, is this still a show about Goofy and his son?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm
that's
eating
kind
more.
of, that's also, I've talked about it before as well, but that's also how I feel about the theme song to Perfect Strangers. You know, there's like a key change in that theme song. It's like standing tall on the wings of my dreams. Is this still just a show about two roommates that don't get along? Why is it so?
It could have been so much more simple, for sure.
Right. It could have just been like, I don't like him. He doesn't like me. We'll never get along. And that's it.
Now watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it could have been the whole show. I don't know. Anyway.
Well, let's get the toy out of this box. Or is it
Yeah,
like,
we
do
could.
You have to dig it? Do you have to dig it
No,
out of
you
the
don't
bottom?
have. No, it's actually at the very bottom,
Oh,
right here.
there it is. Look at that.
There it is.
Very cute. Little pink Care Bear. Cheer Bear.
Little Cheer Bear
So
with,
Cheer
with
Bear
a little
is
star.
the name of this Care Bear. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it is.
That's
Yeah.
adorable.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was never into them as a kid.
And I guess
I think
what-
it's just the male-female thing. I wanted
I
to be
guess
one of the
when
boys.
when he holds the star, he turns invisible. I don't know. Maybe that's a Super Mario thing. I don't know.
I have no freaking clue, man. Yeah, the Care Bears have no idea. I hated, like, I remember so vividly hating Cabbage Patch Kids.
Sure.
When Cabbage Patch Kids
agree.
came out, it was such a rage that people were trampling each other in the stores to
Right.
get them. And I was like, these dolls are so stupid. Why is everyone fighting over them? And I didn't like dolls at all when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I would much rather play with the Star Wars toys and like Lego and like stuff that was supposedly for boys. I'm like, I'm not playing with a stupid. What is the psychology behind playing with a doll anyway? I was
Yeah.
like, what am I learning? How to be a mom
Yeah.
and like a wife, and I got to stay in the house while everyone plays outside? I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
okay?
thankfully there's a lot less of that now. At least I think so, but it was kind of shifting because, like, for example, when I was growing up, my generation, ours was Furby, and it was like for girls and guys. Like it didn't matter. It was it was just a weird animal for everyone.
For
you know,
sure.
that
For
never
sure.
shut up, and it mostly only turned on at 2 a.m.
Yeah. So Cabbage Patch Kids.
Yeah.
So there was like the answer for people who hated Cabbage Patch Kids was Garbage Pail Kids.
Yeah.
And it was these trading cards, I'm sure you know, of basically a parody of Cabbage Patch Kids, and I loved that. I'm like, that's me. I'm all about that.
Yeah.
I was so into it.
Yeah, I believe it was at SuperCon. I got Garbage Pail Kids cereal.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I
Yeah,
could have
yeah.
brought that. I didn't know.
And they were all puns.
Had I had known.
It was like Atom Bomb is like his head's exploding like a big mushroom cloud.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so like they're all, I still have mine.
It was like kids' Mad Magazine.
Yeah,
almost.
yeah. Totally.
Okay.
Yep. And I was
Cool.
very into Mad Magazine too.
Yeah, I'm assuming. Yeah, of course.
I still have them. I still have all my Mad Magazines.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. So shifting into now, when did you start doing comedy?
I started, it was right before my 30th birthday. It was something I always wanted to try. And I think, you know, there's something that happens when you turn 30 where you start to go, I haven't done the things I wanted to do
Yeah.
in my life. And I thought, I've always wanted to try stand-up. How come I've never done it?
Right.
And so that's when I started. And for me, I'm 44, so it was, you know, about 14 years ago. And I remember just turning 30 and I'm like, finally I'm doing what I want to do because I loved it right away. I loved it immediately. And you can probably hear the sound check we're doing in the theater. Show's going to start soon. Yeah, so I've been a comedian for a long time, Mike.
Yeah.
Man, you'd think something good would have happened by now. Just kidding. It's good. You know what happened? I got bitter a couple years ago. I got really bitter. Like you're saying, like I'm cheerful.
Mm-hmm.
I really went through a period where I got so negative.
Yeah.
And then it came back around where I realized, what was my goal to doing comedy? Like my goal was just to do comedy.
Right.
And I'm doing it already.
Right.
And there's a real lesson there of just living in the moment and enjoying where you are and you know, you can't like try to force what your path is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I thought, at some point hopefully I'll get on a late night show and whatever else will happen from there. And that hasn't happened for me. Maybe it still will, maybe it won't. And I've learned to just like enjoy the moment and enjoy each show more. But that little negative dark period, man, that was rough. I was really like cranky and just starting to like hate every show and hate everyone and just like, bleh. And that's a terrible way to be. And I think it's really common in our industry because there is a lot of letdown, you know? There's a lot of disappointment. There's a lot of things that don't work out the way you think they're going to work out. And you really have to reevaluate, you know, why you're doing, like, what are you doing? And for me, you know, I'm a mom and I couldn't just live in New York and LA because I couldn't bring my daughter. So I lived in both places for a little bit, but I would, for my time with her, because I split custody with her dad, I would fly back to Florida every 2 weeks, or I would fly her out to me. And it was so exhausting and expensive and just difficult on everybody that at some point I was like, I'm going to be settled and stable and just try to do the right thing, you know, and then enjoy stand-up if I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
That's the thing with stand-up. It's really hard because we all have egos. And I used to think ego was like, ego meant like you're boisterous about being better than everyone else. But it's more than that. You could also quietly be doing that, which we all do. And stand-up is a thing that really feeds ego because when you're on stage, you're like the person getting all the attention in the room.
Right.
You know? And it does feed your ego. And we become these little stand-up egomaniacs. And I think that once I got that in check, which is only really recently in my life, it just made my whole entire life better to go, I'm not any more special than anyone else. I might be better at telling jokes than a lot of people, and that's why I do this job, you know, but it doesn't make you like a crackhead and me and Donald Trump, we're all the same bunch of molecules. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? We're all just like little humans.
Yeah, it's true.
And yeah. So I'm starting to be like, we're all just kind of the same, and we're just existing, and we're all gonna be dust. It doesn't matter who you are. We're all gonna die.
I had an interesting question. One of my favorite stand-up specials is Patton Oswalt Annihilation, and you're on it as a special thanks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And what was it that you did? Did you open the show?
I didn't do anything. Just I opened a bunch of shows for him. Yeah, you know, I was just one of Patton's opening acts.
That's awesome.
So lucky.
Of course, yeah.
When I think of all the opportunities and special experiences I've had as a stand-up,
yeah,
I got to meet Patton Oswalt at the South Beach Comedy Festival. Mm-hmm. And I had a really good set, and he liked my material, and he invited me to open up more shows, and I've gotten to open for him many, many times. And he has a bunch of openers that he cycles through. He really he's really a solid guy and likes to help people.
That's something I've noticed about him just as a fan.
Yes.
Because he's brought out Shane Torres, and before, a few years ago, he brought out Joe Mandy before he started writing for The Good Place and all those kinds of shows.
Yeah.
So I found a lot of these people through him, or watching him, essentially. I just thought that was really interesting.
And I love that mentality in stand-up where
of course.
We're building each other up instead of being, like, super competitive. That's why I've always hated comedy contests. Because it's like, it you know what I mean? Like, it pits
totally
you against your people that we should be building each other up. And instead we were, like, fighting for what? A title that says, I'm funnier than whatever. Like, just no. Some days you're funnier, some shows, and some shows you're not. That's just how comedy is.
Well, yeah, comedy is very subjective.
It is very subjective. And everyone deserves to laugh. So it's like, what makes someone laugh is, like, it's all subjective, like you said. And so it's like you and I have nerdier kind of material.
Yeah.
Mine's even nerdier when I do Comic-Cons than like a regular comedy club. But, it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing, I think, And it's fun to find your audience because then it's really fun.
And going back to Patton, that's one of the reasons why I loved him, because he was like, oh, I don't fit in the round hole that you're putting me in. Well, I'm going to figure something out myself. He
found his audience.
And I'm going to make comedians of comedy.
Doug Stanhope, too.
Exactly.
Doug Stanhope, when I started, he was the most blacklisted comedian there was. I mean, he would walk the entire room because at a comedy club, people just go without knowing who the comedian is or what the comedy is going to be like, which is so weird. You would never go to a movie not knowing anything about it.
Right.
So people would just go in blindly, and it's Doug Stanhope, who's clearly not for everybody, and people would be super offended and leaving and complaining and wanting money back. So he was getting blacklisted everywhere, and it forced him to start booking his own independent shows, and then his audience found him. It's amazing, and I love that.
Yeah, that's certainly true. I mean, again, like it's like the Pattons and the Joe Rogans of the world, What's going on?
I just stepped on a cheer bear.
Oh, there you go.
And I'm sliding it over because I was going to pick it up and then crunch. Oh, I'm still stepping on it. Oh, God, there's more.
Oh, boy.
It's on my shoe. Isn't this fun? There's pink powder everywhere now. Looks like we're doing pink cocaine in the green room.
No, I was just gonna say, like, it reminds me of, like, stories that I would hear of, like, Joe Rogan, or even going back to Patton Oswalt again, where they would be like, oh, it's the guy from King of Queens, or it's the guy from Fear Factor. Yeah. And then they go and they're not the guy from Fear Factor, or they're not Spence
like
from
Bob
King of Queens.
Saget, right?
Yeah, they're not Danny Tanner.
Yeah, let's go see Danny Tanner, the guy who hosts America's Funniest Home Videos. Yeah. So wholesome.
Yeah, it turns out his stand-up isn't people getting kicked in the nuts.
No.
Really weird, huh? But yeah. Do you have any kind of funny stories or any stories of note from your years of doing comedy that stick out?
I have so many, Mike. I don't even know where to begin. Gosh. I'll tell you one. Okay, here we go. This was a show I did at the Miami Improv years and years ago with Bert Kreischer headlining. Now, he has told this same story on his podcast, and he tells it a little wrong.
Okay.
And this is his memory of it. I have a different experience. Okay, so here we go. It was the midnight show. Saturday night, Miami Improv. The thing about Miami is everything starts late.
Yeah.
And so the midnight show was
the early
starting. It was starting at 1:15, no exaggeration.
Yeah.
And the line, I was hosting, and the line to get in was outside around the building. And I just walked outside to kind of look at them. I'm like, let me just size them up, this late show. Like, let's see if they look angry, because it's so late. You kind of pick up the energy just by taking a peek.
Of course.
And I look at the line, and there are these guys who are being super obnoxious. They're jumping around. They're loud. People online are like, you could see they're annoyed with them. They have their arms folded. They're like looking back at them, super annoyed. It was like a bunch of white guys wearing wife beaters and like gold chains and stuff. And you just look at them and hate them right away,
Right.
And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe how annoying. Like, they're annoying everyone already. So I go in, mind you, I'm like a new comedian and I'm just the host. I go in and I tell the manager, I'm like, yo, these guys out online, they're already a problem. You may want to seat them on the outskirts so they can be easily removed. Okay? My mistake was I was telling the manager his job. And out of spite, he put them in the front middle. Okay? And now they're seating the rest of the room, and I see that where they are, and I said, oh, no, those are the guys I told you. And he goes, Bert will have fun with them. Now, literally, like, the mic is hot. They're taking the mic stand and pulling it down and going, do in the mic.
Right.
I'm like, right there, that should be like, you guys have to leave, right? So we start the show, and they're loud the entire time. My set, I just have to, like, deal with them. The feature act the whole time just had to deal with them. Like, our sets were not good because the whole thing is about them. Bert comes out, and Bert is great at dealing with weird stuff in the room. But the whole show is just, like, about these guys, and people are getting pissed off.
Yeah. So
I don't know how it led to this part, but one of the guys, this is so crazy because this is before our cameras on our phones were good. Okay, I remember I had a Razor phone. It had a camera, but we didn't take it out all the time. It was just like a crappy camera.
Yeah.
So one guy jumps on stage. He takes his penis out, twirls it, and then throws his arms up in the air and is like, I'm out of here, and he exits. And everyone's like, what the hell just happened? Bert had a bunch of funny things to say about it. You'd think it would end there. That guy left the building. His party is still sitting there.
Yeah. He did
Second his closing act. Yeah. Second guy from his party jumped on stage to the same thing. Penis, twirl, hands up, I'm out.
They're all in the same band together.
Okay.
They're on the Temptations.
Yeah. You'd think it'd stop there, right? No. Third guy. Twirl, hands up, I'm out. I was like, I cannot believe what I am watching. This is so crazy.
Girl gets up, whips out her vagina.
Unreal. We're only 20 minutes into Bert's set,
Right.
and it's out of control. And Bert just looks at the manager like, "What is going on?" And the manager gives him like the cutthroat signal, like "End it." And Bert ended the show 20 minutes into his set. The manager announced over
How can he top that?
the loudspeaker.
Yeah.
They announced, "We're sorry if you were offended by this show. If you'd like to come back for free, just stop." At the manager on the way out, and we'll give you tickets to come back for free. And that's how it ended. Now the thing where Bert Kreischer tells it wrong, he says, this made me so mad. I don't know why I haven't contacted him yet, and I love Bert, but he said that I got off stage crying because of them. And I've only cried once because of comedy, and it definitely was not that. I was more like, oh my God, these guys.
Right.
I was like that. And I know I was definitely not in tears. Like, that was not my state of mind.
Right.
The one time I cried in comedy was also at that same club. And it was a comedy contest. And I bombed so horrifically. in front of a panel of judges that were like critiquing us. I got off
One
stage.
of them was Bert Kreischer.
No. I got off stage and I cried in the bathroom. And so that was the only time I cried because of comedy. I was so embarrassed of just bombing that terribly. Yeah. And but that's a bunch of penis twirling. And that's it. That was pretty crazy.
That's insane.
I haven't worked with Bert again since, but I just want you to know, Bert, because I know you're listening to this podcast.
He's definitely not.
I did not cry. I totally didn't. I would have remembered that. And I would have admitted it, too. I'm not shy about crying. People should cry.
Yeah, of course.
I was more like, whoa, did you see that?
Yeah. Maybe tears of joy.
Yeah. I was like, these guys, can you believe it?
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So I know that we're kind of in a time crunch because
we're
you
starting
have
the show.
you have a show that you have to do in 3 seconds. But where can people find you, Lisa?
You know, just follow me on social media, please. That would be awesome.
That's mostly what I meant, not actually.
Please don't come to my house. It's just my name on social media, and I would love to have you as a friend.
And for me, you can find me on Instagram at Mike Valdes, on Twitter at I am Mike Valdes. You can go to whoismikevaldes.com to find out the answer to that question, and subscribe to the podcast so we can grow this family. Thank you so much for listening. Bye, besties.